I was 35 when my fairy tale life living in the Swiss Alps with my lovely family suddenly changed when I was told that I had a life-threatening liver disease, for which the only treatment would be a total liver transplant. When I heard I needed a transplant, I just didn't know what life would be like after a transplant. I didn't know anyone who'd had a transplant. My children were only 5 and 8 at the time. Flore Doucet, a young journalist who was working for Canal 9 in the Valais, asked if she could make a documentary about my life on the waiting list. Throughout my wait, she came with a cameraman to interview me from time to time. I was terribly lucky in the fact that the disease I had did not stop me from living a relatively normal life. I could do sports, work and live normally. The only thing I was sure of was that it could kill me. This was really driven home to me when I saw the interview with Professor Morel that was done for the documentary. When I heard the words, "If this young mother does not have a transplant, she will definitely die." I used to worry for my donor, but when I finally had my transplant, I remember waking up in intensive care and no longer being worried about my donor. He was here with me, and we felt safe and happy. It was our destiny. Although my surgeon said I could leave after 10 days, I was in hospital for a month due to an episode of rejection. Once this was under control, I was amazed to see how much better I felt, not by the day, but literally by the hour. A month after coming out of hospital, I hiked to the Cabane des Audins at 2,700 metres with a group of friends to spend the night up there. After a rather steep climb, a large crowd of people that had heard a girl who had just had a transplant was coming up was waiting at the top of the ridge. They gave me a huge round of applause. Like Sarah, I was also a fitness trainer before my transplant. We were actually transplanted for the same disease. I'm also a skier. My transplant has made no difference at all to my sporting performance, but maybe my age has. I probably do not push myself as hard as I used to, but why should I? My mother thinks I do too much, but as my transplant coordinator told her, we can change her liver, but we can't change her. I never took part in competitive sports before my transplant. Now I take part in the transplant games, which I really enjoy. I've quite a collection of medals now, even for the transplant idol. I feel more like these medals belong to my donor than to me. In February 2002, a month before my 40th birthday, I was part of the Kili Live Alive team, the brainchild of Professor Jack Pirenne and Frank van Gelder from Belgium. A team of 6 liver transplant patients were to attempt to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, the roof of Africa, at 5,895 metres, accompanied by a specialised medical team. Each of us was compared to a control climber. Pirenne later published an article in the New England Medical Journal proving that transplant patients reacted in the same way as non-transplanted people at altitude. 5 out of 6 patients had reached the summit, the same percentage as the rest of the team. The hours of trekking gave me time for reflection. Tears often ran down my cheeks behind my sunglasses as I climbed. Silently and keeping my thoughts to myself, I went through the train of events that led to my being there. I thought of all the wonderful people I had met through what had happened to me. I felt very privileged to have experienced everything I had experienced, and honestly do not regret having to have had a transplant. When we got to the summit just before sunrise, there was not one person in the team, doctors alike, who was not crying with emotion. There was still one thing I needed to do. I needed to forgive my body for letting me down 5 years previously. And at 5,895 metres, I finally did. I always felt so healthy. When I was told I was ill, I looked like I was fighting fit. I was 35 years old. I didn't look like anything was the matter with me. And I felt so let down by my body and out of control. Normally I always feel in control. And I felt so let down by my body. And there was kind of like we made up. He got me up there, got my donor up there. We were there, and it was just, it's good.